Hey there, good morning to you. It is Saturday, December 13th. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz tracking our next atmospheric river that's set to move in Sunday night and into Monday. I do want to stress that this atmospheric river, though it's going to be strong, it's not going to bring as widespread of impacts to our area because it's not going to sit over western Washington and move back to the north like the previous one did. We had a break, but then we had more rain as it lifted back to the north, and I'll show you in a minute. Also, with it moving more to the south of us eventually, that's going to put us on the cooler side of things, so our snow levels are coming down. We'll fine-tune the forecast as we get closer, but all in all, even though we're dry now, and take full advantage of today because we'll continue to have receding rivers, we have more showers moving in tonight, nothing heavy, but over the next couple of days, if not weeks, we're still going to have that elevated landslide risk and debris flow risk, especially over those burn scars. So into Monday, we are expecting heavy rain, really below 6,000 feet, maybe below 7,000 feet, which means all rain at our passes. The heaviest rain may fall over the North Cascades until we get some lower snow levels, which should happen late Monday, if not into Tuesday. And unfortunately, because of that heavy rain moving in and mostly rain falling over our mountains, Monday, our rivers are going to rise once again. And I mentioned the risk for landslides. The National Weather Service issued this one statement. You see for areas shaded in white, we've already had numerous landslides, mudslides, debris flows. And so we have such saturated soils and we have more rain headed our way. The risk will continue. However, the threat should gradually decrease after the rain ends, but next week is going to be rainy pretty much every day. And as you see, over the next 5 days, here comes that rain with that first atmospheric river Monday, and it's going to bring us rain, but it should switch to showers as the day goes on. And then Tuesday and into Wednesday, we're going to get more rain, but by Wednesday, we'll have low snow levels. Let's talk about the atmospheric river because the one that is going to move in really tonight, it's the remnants of the previous one, but watch how quickly it moves in and out of here. Here's into Sunday. A lot of that moisture is going to take aim to the Pacific Northwest, but notice it doesn't stick around. You see how it quickly moves to the south and points aim to Oregon into California. Then we get into Wednesday and by the middle half of the week, and there you have it. There's that fire hose, but once again, not going to stick around. In fact, it should be more to the south of much of our state and moving into Oregon and into California. And once again, that would put us on the cooler side of things. Flood warnings are still in effect until further notice because we still have a large amount of our rivers still in within those flood warnings and still within flood stage, even though a large majority of our rivers have dropped below flood stage. And you see all that green, so the Cedar, Chehalis, Cowlitz Green, Skagit, Snohomish, Snoqualmie, and White, they still have flood warnings in place. And I wanted to quickly talk about what the flood stages mean because I've had so many questions. Well, you say moderate and major flood stage. What does that mean? Action stage, for one, means just we're watching it. Act. Get ready to act in case the flooding does occur. Minor flooding, that's when things start to begin, and then we start to see some water overflowing banks, but into the lowest areas. Moderate flood stage, that's when we start to get some bigger impacts, but major flood stage, which a lot of our rivers entered major flood stage over the last couple of days. That's when we usually have widespread impacts. You can also think of it almost like a bathtub. So when the water is starting to get closer to the edge of the bathtub, but not quite overflowing, that would be our action stage. Then we get into minor flood stage, and now the water's starting to go over the bathtub and maybe wetting your floor just a little bit. And then we get into moderate flood stage. That's when your entire bathroom floor is wet with all of the bath water. Then we get into major flood stage. The water starts to move out of the bathroom, maybe into your hallway, your kitchen. That's when you have major damage usually. You might need to spend extra time. Maybe things are inundated. That's kind of what to think of. So a nice little analogy to put it into perspective. And in terms of our rivers, so this is as of 9 o'clock on Saturday. Keep in mind this will change, but you can go to the Northwest River Forecast Center by NOAA or water.noaa.gov to check the latest. And here are some of the rivers that were most impacted. Skagit near Mount Vernon hit that record flood stage. So it is still in that moderate flood stage. So again, your bathroom floor is wet from all of that bath water that overflowed your bathtub. So remember that. It is going to drop maybe to minor flood stage before it goes right back up because of the incoming rain. It could come close to maybe the major flood stage, but it should be contained a little bit. But we'll see. It depends on how heavy this rain is. Snoqualmie near Carnation, that's expected to jump. It's just in that action stage, so remember to watch. And then it could spike once again by maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. Same for the Snohomish at Snohomish, likely going to come close to maybe moderate flood stage just because, again, we'll have heavy rain over the mountains. It falls, goes downstream, and that's going to cause those rivers to come right back up. The good thing is, yes, there's good with all of this. Our snow levels are going to come way down. They're going to start really high, kind of like last week, but they're not going to stay high. They're going to come way down. And so we're going to get snow at our passes and potentially even lower than that. And so all that rain, all that precipitation that falls, it's not going to melt and fill our rivers once again, but our rivers are still very vulnerable. They're swollen. So even if they start to drop, they're likely going to come up once again, but you can count on us to keep you posted. I wanted to take you to Alpental, and you see we have no snow whatsoever, just bare. This time last weekend, at least we had snow, but that's not the case. And so thankfully, we will get some snow falling. Hopefully our ski resorts will open sooner rather than later. So hopefully we can get some of that snowpack to build, and the models are in our favor. Into next week, it's likely we're going to be cooler, potentially even into Christmas week. The latest model guidance, long-term model guidance, puts us pretty chilly into Christmas week. But to put it into perspective, our average high this time of year is about 47 degrees. So we are well above normal. This is what our 7 days looking like. So 55, partly sunny. Today is going to be nice. Tomorrow we'll get rain, switching to showers, going to be breezy. Then we get into Monday. You're waking up to widespread rain, also going to be quite blustery. And then throughout the week, it's just going to be rainy at times with mountain snow. I wanted to take you to Seattle. So this is our Queen Anne camera, and you see just trapped under fog. This fog should gradually mix out and lift, and we have blue sky waiting for us above that fog bank. But you see closer to the coast, some sun. La Push, not as bright. We have a good bit of that cloud cover, but Granite Falls, you see blue sky as well. Highs today, low and mid 50s, a couple of upper 50s out there. Leavenworth around 49. Tonight's going to be very warm. Average low is 37 degrees. 48 degrees tonight. So it is going to be very warm, very soupy, and we're going to get some of those southerly winds, so going to be on the breezy side. But tomorrow, if you're headed to the Hawks game, likely going to be cloudy, but the rain should come to an end. At least the bulk of the rain should come to an end. Highs tomorrow still well above normal. So let's time out this rain. Into our Saturday evening. Here's around 6 o'clock. We're still dry, but you see that the remnants of that first atmospheric river are essentially just a front moving in. This is overnight and into Sunday morning, just a very narrow band of showers. Then we get into Sunday afternoon. Favoring any rain should favor essentially north and northwest of Seattle. Then we get into Sunday night and into Monday. Here comes that round of heavy rain. So likely going to have a wet commute, and you see how it's just kind of widespread, switching to numerous showers. But as it moves east of I-5, we get that orographic lift, so we get a lot of that moisture. We get that lift for us to get some heavy rain. You see from the South Cascades all the way to the North Cascades. So with those snow levels still high, going to get that rain. But here's Tuesday morning. You see purple. We want to see that. We'll get that snow at the pretty much down to pass level into Monday night and into Tuesday. And so that is promising. Let's talk about the winds, because it's also going to be a little blustery. For Sunday, it's really going to be more to the north and to the south of Seattle, but then we turn to Sunday night and into Monday, and that's when we start to get some stronger wind gusts, maybe over 30 miles per hour. Then we get into Sunday or Monday. So through Monday night, rain totals look to be about maybe half of an inch up to an inch, with the highest totals closer to the coast, 2 to 4, maybe 2 to 3 inches. But up in the mountains, you see maybe 1 to 2 inches, but some higher totals potentially over the North Cascades. Then we get into Wednesday, and you see even the lowlands, about 2 to 3 inches, closer to the coast, 3 to 5 inches. And this is through Wednesday. This isn't just the rain totals into Wednesday, but our snow levels will start to come down. So we're not a lot of that precipitation up in the mountains heading into, especially late Tuesday and into Wednesday. It's going to fall as snow, and that snow is going to help us out with those rivers filling up and filling up quickly. So through Tuesday afternoon, you see again snow levels will still be about maybe 4,000 feet, but low enough Tuesday morning to get some accumulating snow at Snoqualmie Pass. Then we get into Wednesday. Now keep in mind this is still far out, so likely going to see these numbers change, but it gives us an idea that we're going to add to our snowpack. And you see especially Mount Baker pushing 2 feet, potentially a foot at Stevens Pass. So we have some good news with all of this, but the debris flow, landslide risk, that is going to continue potentially for the next couple of weeks, and we'll have to monitor those river levels once again. But hopefully you can get out and enjoy today. We'll have that quiet weather for any cleanup efforts, but just make sure if anything changes, you check the river forecast. You can count on us to keep you posted on air and online. And don't forget, you can always find the latest on king5.com, King 5 Plus as well, and then you can download the King 5 app as well.